What's going on, guys? Pixie here, bringing you another squad builder on FIFA 18. This one's a bit of an insane one, so yeah, definitely stay and watch this entire squad builder because it has a ton of informs and a bunch of really interesting cards that I'm looking forward to showing you guys. Starting off with Inform Rico, I was instantly drawn to this card when I saw his stats. He's 6'4", so he's massive and has some great overall stats, and he probably is the best Spanish keeper I've used in the game so far. As you saw from that clip I just showed you, he's also really great from set pieces, which a lot of keepers are not. So having a keeper that's really good from set pieces is very, very useful. And the two center backs, we have two titans at the back. We have Bonucci and Piqué. Two center backs that you might look at and think that they don't have the pace to compete, but keep in mind I also use this team in Weekend League, which a lot of people wouldn't really look at this team and think, okay, I'll go into Weekend League with it, because a lot of people go for like pure pace squads with your typical Bailly at the back. But I think that Piqué and Bonucci make up with all of their other assets, and that makes them both great. They both don't have the greatest of pace, but their defensive work is amazing. They're both really good in the air. You saw a nice little volley from Bonucci off the corner there. They can both pass the ball at the back, both long passing and short passing. They have that. They have decent ball control for center backs. They have essentially everything that you need on a center back except for the pace. But the pace is not even an issue whatsoever. They both did an incredible job. Of course, they're slow, and sometimes that could pose an issue, but I found that aside from that, they're both incredible. And the two fullbacks of the team, we have Inform Gulam and we have Semedo. Pacey, son of a bitch. Also, his interceptions are 80, so it's pretty damn good. He has some decent interceptions on him. He puts in great work defensively, but he pretty much just overlaps wingers with his pace, and that's the defensive work that he puts in. And I forgot to show you guys the goals and everything on Giuliano, but he got me 2 goals and I think like 2 assists. And the 2 goals that he got me, surprisingly, were from corners. So he is actually kind of a beast off of corners. And aside from those 2 goals he got me, he was testing the keeper on multiple occasions with his headers from corners. So yeah, he does have that. He does have that sort of versatility where he can also put it in work in the air, which does help him with those over-the-top through balls from your opponents. He can get in the air and defend those. Then we have second inform Talisca and second inform Bonaventura as our center mids. And what a midfield these two made up. Both long shot gods. Talisca, as you guys know, if you've seen my other videos around Talisca, his first inform at least, you know that I love his long shots. And this card, while it doesn't really feel much better from his normal inform, so his first inform, to be honest, it's still worth it for sure. I think he's around 45-50k right now, and he also has a man of the match card out right now, which looks incredible, but I can't really see a situation where his card is really improved that much from this one, in game at least. I can't really see it performing much better. So I'm probably going to try him out, to be honest, because I love Talisca. He's one of my favorite players in the game, so I kind of have to try him out just because of how much I love him. But if you can't really afford that one, then of course the second inform option or even the first inform option are great ones to go for. But Talisca is one midfielder on this game that I feel has no glaring weakness. If you can consider lack of 4-star skill moves a weakness, then sure, but I don't consider that an issue for a center mid like him, because he has everything else that you need. He has decent defending. He's good in the air. He has like 85 or something heading accuracy, which is very, very good. He has a very nice dribble in game. He actually feels quite agile, and he holds onto the ball very well, and his ball control is awesome. A great first touch, fantastic range of passing, an amazing long shot, a great finish inside the box, and also decent pace. There's not a single thing, in my opinion, that Talisca lacks that brings the card down whatsoever. And then second inform Bonaventura, I paid quite a bit of coins for him when I bought him, but I sold him off for roughly around the same. But I would say that he is probably worth it if you can afford him. I would say he's 100% worth it. This card is ridiculous. You might not look at the goals and assists that he got me, I believe 4 goals and 4 assists, and think that he's that great. But I don't think that tells really the whole story, because that doesn't tell you how many tackles he was making, the work he was doing tracking back and forth, the chances that he created that didn't end up as goals, the long shots that he took that were hitting off the post and then resulting in a goal from a rebound, right? So his goals and assists don't really talk about that, but the goals that he did score me were bangers. His long shot is ridiculous. Essentially, every time I would take a shot with his right foot, it would test the keeper. And yeah, you just saw 3 really nice long shots he scored me, and then for the 4th goal that he scored me is just a nice little inside the box finish. But aside from his long shots, he has great pace for a center mid, which is always welcome for any position. Nice pace is always a great little stat for players to have. So he makes some bursting runs through the midfield at times. He's good on the ball, very nice dribbling. He makes great work at the back with his tackling. His stamina is amazing, so he can go all game 100%. And also, he has a bit of physicality to him, and his range of passing is fantastic. Him and Talisca made up two of the best center mids I think I've used on the game, at least as a partnership. And combined with this amazing center attacking midfielder, this is one of the best midfield lineups I've used on the game. And second in form, Giuliano is the perfect center attacking mid and one of my favorite players on the entire game, and 100% my favorite cam. He is insane. There's not a single thing that Giuliano cannot do for you. Maybe aside from making tackles, but as a center attacking mid, that's not really what you require in a center attacking mid. But for everything else that you do require, he has it. He has skill moves. I believe he has a 4-star weak foot, I think. I'm actually not really sure about that, but it didn't make a difference to me, so that's pretty much why I didn't even notice it. But he has an incredible long shot. As you saw, the first goal he scored me, and then this one, he can also finesse it from outside the box. His overall finishing, you'll see in these goals examples, he is a clinical finisher. He is so clinical inside the box, and look at that close control there. And this, keep in mind, I would say 95% of the games I played with this team were in Foot Champions. After Foot Champions ended, I played a few more games with it in Seasons, I believe. But I played around 20, it was a bit over 20 games, I think, in Foot Champions with it. And it performed very well, which was a surprise to me, because considering that I'm playing against these pretty much full icon squads with the most insane players you can imagine in Foot Champions, because that's pretty much the norm nowadays. Everyone has these icons, and this team was competitive with those squads constantly. That was very impressive, and that speaks volumes to how good this team actually was. And I loved him. I loved him, especially Giuliano. He was probably the most important player on the team, and he was my favorite player on the team. I loved every second using him, as you see right there. Look at that little quick cut inside there in the first touch. Amazing ball control. His first touch is ridiculous. He has agility. He also has strength. I didn't even talk about that yet. With his pace, his dribbling, and his ball control, combined with his 80 strength, and I believe he has high 70s aggression too, or mid 70s. So he's not a pushover. He's constantly pushing back when defenders are trying to challenge him. There's just not a single weakness that Giuliano has. And I think he's around 50,000 coins at the moment, and I don't think you can pick up an inform for 50,000 coins that is as worth it as Giuliano is. Plus, he's Brazilian, so you don't have to worry about links too much with him. You can pretty much fit him into any team you want because he's Brazilian. So, yeah, he's insane. One of the best cards I've used on the game. And the two wingers, we have Inform Quaresma and second Inform Brahimi. And honestly, Brahimi is up there with one of my favorite wingers in the game. And in this team, I played him more of a wide role. And look at that goal there. He just cuts through players like it's nothing. I used him as more of a wide player. While in the first team I used him as a left forward, so he was scoring a bit more goals. But in this team, he did stay more wide, so he didn't get the goals he did last time. But he is just as good as what I remember from him the first time that I used him. His cutting inside is insane. It's Robben-esque. In fact, I would say that he's probably on par with Robben for the best dribbler I've used on the game. Of course, our other winger is Quaresma, but Quaresma doesn't quite reach Brahimi's level in terms of dribbling in-game, which is weird because Quaresma actually does have actually better dribbling stats overall than Brahimi does. But Brahimi, there's something about the way he dribbles. He rarely loses the ball from a dribble. It's insane. He has very good acceleration, but he does sort of drop off a bit once he hits that top sprint speed, and once he's fully accelerated, he does sort of lose speed a little bit, but it doesn't make a huge difference, to be honest. If you know how to use a player like that, it doesn't make a huge difference. His finishing is amazing. One thing that Brahimi always lacked in his other cards, in his normal card, which I have used, is shooting and pace. And now he has pace, and he has very good shooting. His finesse shot from outside the box is very good, and he's also a great passer. Really nice passing on him. Gets goals, it gets assists. He does everything you need a winger to do, although he is weak sometimes, which is one thing I can say I didn't like about him, was his strength. And same goes for Quaresma. If I can say one thing I didn't like about him would be his strength, but everything else, amazing. And of course, Quaresma, along with a lot of the other players I have on this team, do have more special cards you can use now. So Quaresma has a second inform. I can't imagine it playing much better than this one. The only thing that he really got upgraded substantially is his shooting +3, but I can't really see that making a huge difference the way he performs in game. But you just saw two pretty much identical goals between Brahimi and Quaresma. They were doing that for each other on this team a lot, actually, where I would dribble with one of them down the line, and find the other one open in space and just cross it to them, because they both have very nice crossing and very pinpoint accuracy crosses, so they're able to pick each other out really, really easily, and I love that about both of those cards. But Quaresma did actually get more goals for the team, and he surprised me, because in other FIFAs, his finishing was always an issue for me, but in this team, he seemed to be really good at finishing off his chances. He had great composure, very nice dribbling, created his own chances and chances for other players as well very easily. I loved his passing. His overall range of passing was very, very nice. He found him. I was able to find him in very good positions, making runs forward. But I can say the same issues I had with Brahimi, I also had those issues with Quaresma. Not so much the pace, though. He did feel a bit quicker than Brahimi, and once he did accelerate, he also kept up with defenders and was able to actually beat them for pace a lot of the time, easier than Brahimi did. But he is very weak, which is one thing that you're going to have with these two players and find with them, is that they are quite weak. But look at that for a shot from Quaresma. He has a banger of a long shot. He has, I think, 95 or 97 curve on him. So, I mean, if you want to finesse it with him, maybe swap wings, him and Brahimi, and utilize Quaresma's finesse shots, you can do that. I tried that out a couple of times. It wasn't really successful with it, but with that curve, of course, he's going to have a beast of a finesse shot, which I didn't really get use out of. But you can see that his power shot as well is very viable. And then our striker is going to be Informed Soares. I've been waiting for him to get a special card for quite some time. He's been having a pretty successful season with Porto, so I'm surprised he didn't get one already. I mean, Porto has a bunch of really good strikers, like him, Marega, and Abubakar. But I think I like Soares a little bit more than Abubakar. I'm not really sure what it is. Like, even though Abubakar is very balanced, he has skill moves, he has strength, he has pace, he has pretty much everything you want. There's something about Soares. I mean, look at that bit of dribbling from him. Even though he's not the most agile or best on the ball player, I'm not really going to tell you guys he's a great dribbler by any means, because he's not. But as you saw right there, he is capable of surprising you with his dribbling and creating his own chances at times. And look at the run he makes there. And he's kind of a beast. He's pretty overpowered, I would say. And once again, consider I was using him in FUT Champions. So the goal record that he got me is not that bad. I've seen people with icons do worse in FUT Champions than I did with Soares. Great bit of dribbling from Brahimi there as well, and playing Soares through very, very well. And my favorite thing about this card was, of course, his finishing. His finishing actually surprised me with how clinical he was. He rarely misses his opportunities. I'm not sure how high his composure is, but he felt very composed in front of goal, and I could always rely on him to get me very, very nice goals and great finishes, as you saw there. You can finesse it with him. He also got me a finesse shot from outside the box that was very, very nice. But one thing that makes him really overpowered on top of what I mentioned is his pace. He has, I believe, 90 sprint speed. So once you reach that sprint speed with him, if you catch him at the right time, no defender is going to be catching up to him. And if they do, his strength and aggression, I think he has strength 84 and I believe aggression in the 90s somewhere. So he is going to push back until he absolutely cannot push back anymore. And that the combination of sprint speed and strength that he has and aggression makes him a force going forward. It's so hard to dispossess this man. And he just played a great poacher role. He was a very good poacher, always getting himself into great positions. The runs that he made were great. He had great positioning on him, which of course you need on a striker like him. Look at that little run that he made, and a very nice pass from, I think that was Giuliano. Yeah, I think I even forgot to talk about the passing on Giuliano because I was kind of being sidetracked with all of his other great attributes. Yeah, Giuliano also has great range of passing, so don't let that get by you there. He's a great passer. But back to Soares again, as you saw right there, great little finesse shot. So he has the ability to score from range. He's not just an inside-the-box goal scorer. So if you do happen to find him from outside the box, don't be afraid to have a shot with him. He has very high shot power. I know his curve isn't the greatest, but for some reason, if you catch it on the right angle in this game, any player can really score you a finesse shot. So it doesn't really matter about the stats for certain players anyway. But that's going to be the last goal for Soares. He was insane. I loved him for such a great, cheap price. He is an amazing striker. And this team, while there are a few expensive players, for the amount of informs and for the quality of this team, I believe you can pick it up for pretty cheap considering the quality of players you have there. I believe around 300, maybe 350k. So I would definitely recommend picking it up if you have the coins for it. It's some of the most fun I've had using a team in quite some time. Yes, please guys, pick it up if you have the coins. Let me know what you think about the squad in the comments below. And guys, thank you for watching and have a nice day.